The defense was doing everything they could to try and get her case thrown out before they ever got to trial. You want to know why her case did not get thrown out? It was because the judge says there was a question of fact. Come join me for a moment as I share with you how important that finding was. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. So now, this is a medical malpractice case. After we had finished discovery, which took almost 2 years, now we notified the court that the case was ready for trial. And guess what happens? The defense turns around and they ask the court to dismiss the case. Legally, that's known as a motion for summary judgment. A motion is simply a formal request to the judge to take some type of action. So now they were asking the judge to throw the case out. And they brought in a medical expert on paper to go ahead and say why they believed we had no valid case. We in turn had to go ahead and oppose that request and explain with our own medical expert why we did in fact believe we had a valid basis for a case. So now you have competing experts. One expert says yes, there is a valid case. Another expert says no, there isn't. And now you've got a conflict. So now what does the judge do? The judge takes the time to read all the papers. He reads all the expert affidavits, affirmations. He reads all the testimony. And he comes to the conclusion that there is a question of fact for the jury to decide. Now, what does that mean? It means the judge has determined that yes, there is a true conflict, a factual conflict. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's more likely right than wrong? If it's a question of fact, now it is up to the jury at trial to decide whether we are more likely right than wrong. That's the jury's function. The judge decides issues of law. So now when the judge is presented with this request, this formal written request to throw her case out, now he has to decide whether or not there are issues of law that he can decide. And if it is, now he'll make a decision based upon legal rulings. If it's not, and there are clear questions of fact, which is exactly what he said in this case, then he's going to say, no, defense attorney, I am not throwing the case out. This case is going to trial, and a jury will ultimately decide whether the plaintiff, the injured victim, is more likely right than wrong. So why do I share this great information with you? I share it with you just to give you an insight and an understanding into what goes on in these medical malpractice cases, these accident cases, and these wrongful death cases here in New York. You know, I understand you're watching this video because you likely have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if your matter did happen here in New York and you're thinking about bringing a lawsuit but haven't done so yet because you still have questions that need answers, what I encourage you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. You know, this is something I do every single day and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.